configured is Salesforce underscore. Oh, now I was able to do underscore contact. Okay. And definitely it will also give a version saying 1 or 2 or 3, depending on how many MC Connect you are using. So this will be this way. In your data design, if you go to the data designer, then in your data designer, if you're using the synchronized data extension, this one, mm, and you are making this relationship with the system table where you are saying the relationship is 1 to 1. Oh my goodness. Huh.
So,
So
mhm.
1 to 1, okay, with the contact ID. That is the ID, right? So ID with contact key. This Salesforce data one will become your contact data.
Got
This
got it, got it, got it, Sashi. Yes.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Now, even somebody might say, "Ki, if I have to, I don't want to, because I'm not able, because a lot of people do not do synchronization data extension. Hmm. They might be running an import activity or an export activity through maybe through reports or maybe through other way of mechanism. There are a lot of mechanisms. So through that, if they want to update this data extension also, okay, they can do this. Now you have this data designer mein aisa, right? You had this way. But in the data designer, you can also have the other way around was instead of journey, I'll take this data extension, that synchronous data extension. I'll take this mapping wheel the same, but at the same time, what I'm doing is I have an automation, and through that automation, okay, anyway, I'm updating this data. I can update this data extension with a query activity, and with the query activity, I update this data extension, and then I can leverage this as a contact data. How why I'm coming to this point is somebody asked, okay, I based on my entry criteria, I entered J3 into into this journey, but I don't want to send an email to that particular person until something there is some criteria. Until that happens, how do I do? Right? Say there is some date, like say J3 has to buy some product, and then only she is going to get an email. Just a simple criteria. There is some buy attribute happens maybe in the later date of the time, and this is a date buy attribute of what will be is like say on this particular day she bought some item, and on that day I'm going to or something happened, maybe from lead to contact conversion happened or something, okay, or opportunity to lead something occurred, and then I have to send an email. So this date is playing a role. Okay, on that day I have to send. So you have a wait attribute by date, and this is how you can utilize the similar way. Okay, this can be updated by a query builder and use it as a data designer, use as a contact data, and in the decision use this particular attribute and then define the flow. Is that clear
Sure,
now with
sure.
JSP?
I think like this would be really helpful. I don't think this is configured like this for me. So I'll have to
Mm.
go and look into it and set up the data designer and also like the query activity to update that data with the latest
Mm.
information.
Give me 1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. Somehow this session became like a journey in enablement program.
Sure. So it was regarding mapping. You were telling me that it should be one to one. So what I
Hmm.
wanted to see, what if there is one too many? Which record it is going
Yeah.
to pull? The very first one, which completes the criteria, or the very last one? I guess it is one of them.
I find always your question to be very difficult. I don't know why.
I'm sorry. I know I'm like the most curious kid, and I just get all these questions. I mean, I have so many questions right now in my head. Most probably, if I'll start asking, it is going to be like throughout the day. You have to answer my questions. But yeah, this is like because things which you're telling
Or
right
it might be
now.
possible that I'll, or it might be possible that I'll say get out.
Yeah, chances are very high.
You and Suraj has actually impressed me a lot. Eh,
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, Suraj was awesome. I mean, when I read that SQL code which he has shared, I was like, wow, this is amazing.
so you have this attribute. Okay. Now with system table, you have a contact key. Contact key never become one to one. What I'll say is it is. I don't think this kind of situation will should anyway occur. So your question comes this way. you have D1. Okay. So in your D1, you have subscriber key, email, okay, and say first name and last name and phone number, something this way. Okay. And you have D2 where you have, then let's say this is transactional data. So you have subscriber key and you say you product ID, name, and so on. Okay. And price and so on. Now you have two data extensions, and these two, D1 and D2, can have one to many relationship. This is the actual question you're asking. So in the data design, or is a data designer, I'll always consider it as a data designer. So you have the system table, okay, where the primary key is, let's say the primary key is the contact ID or the contact key. Okay. So this is the PK, this is the primary key, which has to be unique. And you're mapping from the D1 where the subscriber key is the primary key. Okay. So this will always be one to one. Now, when you're doing the relationship, I don't know how many times I have to edit the video. Okay. So D1. Now this is one to one. So let make me this pictorially very good. If I'm possible, one to one relationship. You have D2. Okay. And you have the subscriber key. Now here this will be one to many. Made your question even simpler. This is the
Yes,
case
it is.
where
Definitely.
where a subscriber key can buy multiple products, right? A subscriber has bought multiple products, and actually in the master D, he this is only the Sumit will only be once, but here Sumit can have multiple records in this data extension. So this will be one to many. So in your data designer, this is a data designer. Let's not get confused anyway. Here in the data designer, you have the system table, and this is how this is mapped. Since you in the data designer and call this as, let's say, campaign campaign attribute group. Okay, so the attribute name, make it an attribute group. In this attribute group, because it's a group, and here you call this as a campaign attribute. You can use both D1 and D2 as your contact data in your journey. So I'm not going very deep inside, but simply going to the decision split here. So you have a decision split, and here in the decision split, you have an option to select journey data. Okay, and if you select journey data, it will only give you the entry source data that you have, that you will be able to pick. So it will be always the entry source uh, attributes that you can pick up here. If you go via contact data, you have an option to select D1, and from the D1, you again, if you go down deep, you will get also D2 as well, from where you can select the attributes. Is that clear till now?
Yes, that's right.
Hmm. Now from this attribute, you simply say subscriber. Let's say even make this as a your entry source decision is subscriber key is not null. Something, this kind of decision you're making. Now in the journey data, this journey data, if you're using this as an entry source. So for Sumit, it will always have one record. So it is not going to break anything, right? Anyway, you use D1 or D2 and your decision is on subscriber key, it is not going to break, because obviously subscriber key can't be empty if I assume anyway. But your entry source is actually D2. For subscriber key, how this record in the, you can have is Sumit at gmail.com and product ID 1, product name is product 1, and the price is, say, $10. And you might also have another record with Sumit as product 2, hmm, product 2, and this is 15 rupee, $15. So when you're doing this and your journey setting is entry anytime, right? Enter anytime also journey setting is, this is how it becomes tougher for people. In the entry journey settings, you say entry anytime. Hmm. I'm not going to the proper nomenclature, but it can enter anytime. So whenever a new record is inserted into a data extension, it gets inserted into this journey. If you're using D2 as an entry source, okay, and in the contact data, you are saying this, okay, and you after this decision, if this is not null and you are saying yes, you're trying to send an email reminder. Now tell me, how many times Sumit is going to get this email?
I believe only once, and my
No.
assumption is so it will send for all those records which is there in the data extension D2.
It has entered this one first time, say today, yes, and tomorrow it will enter this, right?
Okay,
Because this is how you have said entry anytime. If you make it enter only after exit, then only Sumit one is going to first enter the journey, and until Sumit does not exit the journey, this record is not going to enter. Even it gets populated in the D2, it's not going to, like in the journey uh, entry source, you have a evaluation, and that evaluation, if this is entry anytime, then this has already entered. Okay, this is also going to enter if it this record is added. But if you are saying entry only after exit, then first Sumit with this particular record will flow. Then once Sumit exits, then only another record for Sumit will enter. And if you say no entry, no matter how many records you have in this D, it is only allow first record to enter and no other records will flow into it.
one another question. I guess you were explaining about the watermark concept. I don't know how much idea about it, but I believe it's like there are 10 records, and if I'm adding two more records, so if I can set up a watermark there, it is not going to look for those 10 records and just going to look for last two records. So can we also
Uh,
apply this concept with
yeah,
something like that?
yeah. Somehow this interesting session became from a QA session to journey enablement. First is your one to many. I'm trying to basically deduce some mechanism to make you one to many. So I said subscriber key. Instead of subscriber key, I could have used some other how to add an attribute. Like say product, he brought this today and he brought another product. Let's say I'm just trying to help with your answer. So this is today. So this is 26th, and say this is on 27th, and the same product maybe he brought. Okay, let's say I'm trying to basically give you the specific answer to one to many. And here, instead of subscriber key, you said product name equals product one. And your question was, uh, will we evaluate the first record or the second record? Somebody will point out that you made a typo. Okay, so you say product name. Hmm. And when you say in a decision split, you say bring that subscriber where product name equals to product one and send him a email reminder. Based on this, what is the output? Output is one or two, Sumit?
Uh, it is going to be one because I guess it is going to evaluate the first
No,
record. It's entry
no.
anytime. Journey setting is
Is
entry
entry
anytime.
anytime is
Okay.
already in the data extension in the uh, journey data, two records has already flown into it because you have this two entry and it was entry anytime, and you inside the system journey data you already have two records for Sumit. Hmm. And you're saying decision split where product name equals to product one. Okay, and when it does product one, just why you're considering only Sumit. Let's say this is Suraj. Now, when you're making a decision split, it will not only product ID. Let's make this one. Even you have to see holistically. Na? Oh, now if I do this, who all are going to enter with this decision split? Is only Sumit. It will be Suraj also.
That's right. Yes.
Huh. So all these three records will enter. All these three records meet the criteria of your decision split. So obviously Sumit will get two reminder email.
I missed that journey setting part. That's why I said the first one. So if it is
Yeah,
uh, journey no re-entry, then maybe
it's never
yeah.
going
If
to
it is
enter. No
only one is
entry, no re-entry means it's never going to enter no matter what. Even this, even you make a new version, you can't change the no entry into re-enter something. This is
that's right.
one time. So for the new version also, you can't change the journey setting if you're making it or no entry. Hmm. So omit this for now. Either you can say entry after exit, okay, entry after exit, or either you're saying entry anytime. Hmm. So even I'm omitting this one, I'm saying entry anytime. So that's why these are before this decision split, there might be a lot of other emails, other touch points where all these things had happened based on this. Now here you had a decision split, and here you're making this. So for this product one, obviously for me, both this record will flow into the this path, and you'll get the email reminder. So Sumit will get two reminders. Huh. So when I'm going back to saying that make it one to one, so when you're making this decision like one to many, right? So you might have to add another additional attribute, okay, in both this D1 and D2, hmm, and say not only subscriber key to subscriber key, but maybe some different point, like say if I'll do entry date,
Date,
yeah,
yeah, today,
okay,
something like that. Yeah, got
and
it.
here also I make it entry date. Hmm. This has to be the primary key, na? So subscriber key and entry date becomes the primary key to this particular D2. So here my mapping will not will be this, but my mapping now will look like entry date. Okay, this is also becomes the primary key here, and here in the D2, and in the D2 also you'll have this one. So then now it becomes one to one. Understood. See how I'm mitigating the issue. Now this will not be one to many, it will be one to one. No, maybe. Now see, you try it. Now when you go and do this, okay, with the product name, then it will ask you this. It will give you a warning saying that it will has many one to many. Maybe you want to make it unique. The most important thing what happens is they have that attribute uh, grouping. So in the attribute, you can make a decision based on attribute. Okay, so here is attribute with journey mapping. Okay, journey attribute with contact attribute, which and here so you see here with the attribute value of journey data, which is the primary key which never changes, right? So it can't change because you are making a primary key. So here with the journey, you are making a comparison with the contact data. So obviously subscriber key and entry date are primary key, so it's never going to change, right? So when you make this decision with this way, attribute to attribute relationship, and making a decision, you are safe.
That's right.
So
Yes.
it means product equals to 1, and subscriber key of the journey data equals to contact data, and entry date of the journey data with contact data is the same.